Untitled Gore Project. Chapter 7. The Bog's Awakening. By Pseudo-Anonymous. Elsie and Deborah stumbled out of the barn. They saw Fran slumped against a nearby tree, her hand still pressed to the bleeding gash on her cheek. "Fran!" Deborah called, rushing to her. Fran looked up, her face pale, blood seeping through her fingers. "You need to come with us," Elsie said, her voice calm but firm. "We're going to the bog." "The bog?" Fran echoed, her eyes wide with fear. "Why? What good will that do?" "It's the only way," Elsie explained. "The bog holds power, ancient power. It's been here for hundreds of years, long before any of us were born. This place, this land, it's cursed and blessed by the bog. It's how Fiona became what she was, and it's how we can survive this nightmare." "Okay," she said. "I'll go with you." The three women began their journey toward the bog, the ground beneath their feet becoming softer and more treacherous with each step. Elsie led the way, her expression set in determination. As they walked, she began to speak, her voice carrying through the night. "The bog has always been here," she began. "Long before Madam, long before this place became what it is now. They say it started with a storm that came from nowhere, bringing with it a darkness that swallowed the land. When the storm passed, the bog was there, and with it, the power to create things." "Things?" Deborah asked, glancing nervously at Fran. "Creatures," Elsie clarified. "The bog has the power to bring life to whatever touches it, but it's not the kind of life you or I would want. It's twisted, unnatural. That's how Fiona became what she is. She was desperate, willing to do anything to escape Madam's grip, so she made a deal with the bog, and now she's more beast than human." Fran shivered, partly from the cold and partly from the terror creeping into her heart. "And Madam? Where does she fit into all this?" "Madam wasn't always the way she is now," Elsie said. "She came here years after the bog had been discovered with ideas of her own. She wanted to harness the power of the bog, but use it in a more controlled way. That's where her so-called modern approach comes in." Elsie let out a bitter laugh. "She uses that ancient Tandy computer like it's some kind of high-tech magic. But it's laughable, really. The bog's power can't be controlled with circuits and code. It's ancient magic, older than any of us, older than the technology itself." "So why are we going to the bog?" Fran asked, her voice trembling. "What do you want from it?" "Tonight is special," Elsie replied. "It's been exactly 200 years since the bog was discovered. On this night, the bog's power is at its peak. We can use it to create something stronger, more powerful than anything Madam could ever imagine. But to do that, we need a sacrifice." Deborah stiffened. "A sacrifice? What kind of sacrifice?" "A life," Elsie said simply. "One of us has to become the creature, merge with the bog's power. I would do it myself, but someone needs to perform the rituals, finish the procedure, and ensure it's done right. I have the skill and knowledge to do that, but I can't be both creator and the created." Fran's heart pounded in her chest. "You're saying one of us has to die?" "Not die," Elsie corrected. "Transform. Become something greater than you are now. The bog will take you, change you, and you'll emerge as a new being, a creature of pure power." Deborah shot a glance at Fran, her expression calculating. "You're already hurt, Fran. Your face is messed up. Maybe it should be you. It makes sense, doesn't it?" Fran recoiled, shaking her head. "No, I am not doing it." "Wait," Elsie interjected, raising a hand to calm them. No need to argue. We'll make it fair. A game. Best of 7. Whoever loses will be the sacrifice. That way, it's fate that decides. The games were simple. Rock, paper, scissors, coin flips, and other childish contests. But the tension in the air was palpable. Each victory felt like a temporary reprieve from an inevitable doom. They were tied at 3 wins each when the final round came. But as they prepared for the last game, Elsie lunged toward them, pushing Fran and Deborah into the bog and knocking over the torch by mistake, its flames licking the surface of the water. Elsie hurried over to the pile of animal heads by the bog and kicked a few in for good measure. The bog ignited in a brilliant inferno, flames shooting high into the sky. The heat was intense, the roar of the fire deafening. Elsie stepped back, her face illuminated by the fire's glow, a mix of horror and awe in her eyes. From the heart of the flames, the bog began to churn, the water boiling and bubbling. A shape began to emerge, a massive, twisted form, writhing as it took shape. It was unlike anything Elsie had ever seen, a creature of immense size and terrifying power, born of the bog's ancient magic and the sacrifice of the 2 women. Elsie watched in stunned silence as the creature rose to its full height, a nightmarish blend of animalistic fury and dark magic. It was a thing of pure power, more terrifying and magnificent than anything the bog had ever produced. The creature let out a deafening roar, and Elsie knew in that moment that the bog had done its work. She had created a monster, one that would change everything. Hello, bonjour. I'm Crandall. Welcome to the podcast that answers the question, if an infinite number of monkeys will write Shakespeare, what can a few dozen monkeys do? This is an interactive podcast, and together we are here to write a story that does include you. It's going to be 10 chapters, and you just heard chapter 7. Time's running out. The story's wrapping up. The genre of the story is horror. As the Die Tower has told us in the very first episode, the subgenre is gore. This time, after this podcast, you will be ready and well-equipped to write chapter 8, because there is a brainstorm incoming. Who will be there to brainstorm with us? It's a mystery. Who can guess? Well, I guess we'll have to find out. So our friend Pseudo-Anonymous came back to save the day and write chapter 7 for us. Thank you, Pseudo-Anonymous. And this time, Pseudo-Anonymous did leave a message. So let's listen to this chapter heroes saying. I haven't thought of a name of this section yet. Okay. Play the damn music. Damn it. Pseudo-Anonymous says, I've attached the draft based on the brainstorm. I covered the main points that were discussed, though I did explore a few creative tangents. Unfortunately, I had to trim some ideas to stay within the word limit, but I hope what's here resonates with you. Thank you, Pseudo-Anonymous. And it certainly does resonate with me, and I think you did another great job. I feel like you were really feeling it this time. The ending is very epic, and I'm very excited to find out what chapter 8 has in store. Of course, Pseudo-Anonymous, you know the drill. You know that now you cannot write for us for this next chapter. You are welcome to come back for chapter 9. But chapter 8 can't be yours. I'm sorry, my friend. Now, of course, when we are writing, we are following the horror beats laid out to us by our good friend and guru for this season of the podcast, T.L. Bodine. Thank you, T.L. Bodine, wherever you may be and whoever you are. But T.L. Bodine doesn't just give us the beats. No. T.L. Bodine has tips. So here's a guru tip. T.L. Bodine says, choose your words carefully. The words you use for your descriptions are just as important as the level of detail. Certain words just have ickier connotations than others. Some things to try. Words with food connotations. Moist, glistening, steaming, smear, chunk, gobbet, ooze, etc. are words that are frequently and deliciously used to talk about food, but are positively skin-crawling in other contexts, for the same reason that talking about food and gore together is usually really gross. Thank you as always, T.L. Bodine, for those words of wisdom. I think now, even if, gore, writing horror isn't your thing, T.L. Bodine, linked everywhere if you want more than just the snippet of their advice. What was I saying? Anyway, you know what? I don't need to worry about what I was saying because I think that sounds like a brainstorm. It is time to sneak through the secret passage into the Spooky Room Productions lounge. And hopefully someone will be there to brainstorm with us. Let's go find out. And here I am in the Spooky Room Productions lounge. And there, looking debonair, it's Ripley Stonebrook. Ripley!
Hello,
hi!
everybody.
It's really cozy in here today.
It's, that's the word for it, cozy.
Cozy. Actually, you know what? I have something to tell you. And there's only one word I can say to describe this. Dodoy!
Oh, are we at Dodoy?
I now have 10 subscribers on YouTube. So
Ooh.
I now have double digits on YouTube. Thank you, whoever was the 10th subscriber. It doesn't really tell you people's names when they subscribe. So thank you very much, mystery subscriber. You have made us achieve Dodoy.
Dodoy!
And now I get to have a Dodoy party.
Yeah, that's going to be fine.
Anyway.
We might not post pictures.
So you read chapter 7, written by friend of the podcast, pseudo-anonymous.
Paw.
Who I guess we can call Paw sometime.
Paw.
Paw.
Paw wrote this one.
Paw wrote it. Thank you, Paw. Good job, Paw. How did you like the chapter?
It was delightful.
I laughed I actually literally laughed out loud when Elsie pushed them into the bog and then kicked some heads in. That was very funny. I was like, oh my God, that's so funny.
For good measure.
And I get it because, 1,000 words, you have a limit. Sometimes you gotta rush through parts or whatever, but I thought that was really funny.
And sometimes you gotta surprise even us.
Thank you, Paul.
Even though we laid out what was gonna happen in our minds, it was all different. It was wonderful.
Well, I mean, that's the brains. You don't have to just follow the brainstorm.
And in classic next chapter style, you deal with it.
Yeah.
You decide what this monster's going to do and what's going to happen and what it looks like.
I think that Paul did a really good job of setting up the next chapter. It seems very exciting to me. I feel like Paul was really feeling it and did a good job. Thank you, Paul.
That was fantastic.
But thank you very much, but it's time to move on. It's time to get to chapter 8. And do you want to know the beats? Are you slathering to know?
Is it official that I'm writing it?
I mean, I think to keep things as random as possible, it would be better. You don't want the whole thing just to be written by me and Paul. So for chapter 8, the half beat is beat 11, seeking out the beast. For the first time, the hero approaches the monster rather than fleeing it. They intend to enact their solution. And then the whole beat, the 666 words, is beat 12. The true cost is revealed. In the process of confronting the monster, the hero realizes that to overcome it, the internal conflict must be encountered and defeated. That is the hidden cost. The hero will be irrevocably changed. Easy word to say.
You know what the hardest part of this is?
Saying irrevocably?
Irrevocably, but who's our hero now?
I don't know.
Just a monster? Monster on monster action?
I
So
guess
it's like a Godzilla movie where we're like rooting for one of the monsters now because it's technically the ladies?
I guess the super bog monster is now the hero.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because who's left? We have Elsie, and she's not the hero.
She created the bog monster, but then it's just like, she's just going to dip out now? She's like, oh, go do bog.
Yeah, she's like, I've created the bog monster, but now I just got to let it go do its thing. So I assume we have to have the super bog monster attack Oracle?
Oracle and Madam, yes.
Oracle and Madam.
And, of course, the super monster is partially two ladies.
Deborah.
Which ladies were they again?
Deborah, which was one of the clipboard ladies.
Right.
And
the
Fran.
mousy one that was, like, taking the orders.
And Fran, who has done a lot, actually, in this story.
Mm-hmm.
But now she's part of a super bog monster.
Which one is Fran?
She was the tattooed girl who snuck off to the barn, and also Oracle lashed out at and sliced her face up, but now she's part of the super bog monster.
Well, you see, when you lay out the characters, the ones that live are the ones that are very easy to remember. She's the one with a bunch of tattoos. Ah, thank you.
Yeah.
So she lived, apparently. That's how the story went down.
Well, but now she's part of the super bog monster, so I don't know. Anyway, so where we ended it was the super bog monster gets out of the bog. I think for dramatical sake, we should start this chapter maybe with the barn people, as we called them, the Oracle group.
Well, I think we got to break it down a little bit because
Okay.
we have to decide, okay, have we decided that the hero is going to be the bog monster?
I guess.
And does that mean that the bog monster has to go through inner turmoil or?
To overcome... Okay. In the process of confronting the monster, the hero realizes that to overcome it, the internal conflict must be encountered and defeated. That is the hidden cost. The hero will be irrevocably changed.
Oh, they sure were.
Shit. Okay, well, you know...
Does the bog monster have internal conflict that they must now deal with?
It's made out of two sexual harassers and a bunch of animal heads.
Well, it's a sexual harasser and a person who...
Oh, that's
led a
right.
section. But
Shit.
maybe the reason she was there and was cowed by the ladies because she was once a sexual harasser.
So they hire reformed sexual harassers to be the clipboard
exactly.
ladies?
She sort of worked her way up.
Okay, sure, why not?
Because that way it'll make things less complicated where now sexual harassment is their inner conflict.
But that doesn't make sense. Because we keep saying they're sexual harassers. They are there for sexual harassment rehab. But
not necessarily that they did it.
No, well, not even that, but there's been no sexual harassment except what Hank has told us.
I was about to say, come on.
Hank said that they were grabbing his ass the whole
time. You bunch of crazy bitches or something.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying. Okay. I think the term hero... I don't know.
I mean, as stories go on, then beats become less important and more nebulous, right?
I mean, apparently, because as far as I know, we're the only people who've ever done this, so we're learning as we go.
So work that in.
So work it in.
Work all that in. That the monster will have some conflict about sexual harassment.
Fine. I mean, maybe, but I mean, we could try to break that down poetically and decide what sexual
harassment.
harassment.
Work it in poetically. Thank you.
Because what I mean is that if you break down what sexual harassment is, it's like an id out of control, or it's
power.
It's a natural thing that you have allowed to overtake your social responsibilities or something like that. You know what I mean? Because sexual harassment it's not like if you eat too much, which is like another natural urge is to eat, but that doesn't affect other people, but sexual harassment does, you know.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't really know what I'm trying to get at. This has always been the problem with this whole thing, that we keep trying to sidestep what the internal conflict is, and all we come up with is, sexual harassment.
Well, sometimes in a slasher, there's not a lot of internal conflict.
And that's okay.
And
so
it's okay.
Okay, so let's just keep that on the back burner, or
You want to put that in there, you put that in there.
in the back of our minds in some way.
That'd be maybe not so part of the important beat.
Yes, that's fine. So let's be more practical and actually talk about what we're going to need on the page.
So what's the other part that we're supposed to hit on?
Okay, the first part, which is the half beat, 333 words, is seeking out the beast. For the first time the hero approaches the monster, rather than fleeing it, they intend to enact their solution. So the solution is the super bog monster, I guess.
Yeah.
So that would mean the hero is Elsie.
It is the solution.
But I just think that this chapter, and another reason why I don't particularly want to write it, is going to be pretty action-y, right?
Okay, if we flip around and it's called Elsie the hero,
sure,
then things do get simpler, because her inner conflict is going back to the old ways as opposed to the new ways in Madam.
Which I guess we could, if we wanted to, tie that into sexual harassment, as in it's no longer a thing that is socially acceptable, while in times past it was okay to sexually harass people.
Yeah, you could do
if
that.
You wanted to do that.
Weave that in.
I don't know how.
Thank you.
I don't know why that would. I don't know how that would be a part of the story, but we can just drop the whole thing and just have the sexual harassment as I don't know.
That's our version of summer camp.
It's fine.
That's why the kids are all here.
Yeah. So if Elsie is a hero, then the internal conflict is old ways versus new ways.
Yeah.
Fine. That's fine.
And which will be physically represented by the fighting of the two monsters.
Okay, perfect.
There you go. If you want to make it fancy, there you go. It's easy.
Sure, that's very easy.
Bog monster rolls up and...
Okay, so I'm so sorry. You were on a roll. Go ahead.
Bog monster rolls up and is obviously going to fight the spider monster. A deer.
Yes, that seems... Yes. But like I said, for dramatic purposes, I think if we start this chapter with Team Oracle and kind of check in on what they're doing, and then the super bog monster can, I don't know, this seems to bust in through walls and windows and stuff, so that could happen at some
But you know
point.
what that will allow us to do? If we start with Team Oracle,
okay,
you can see the monster in repose.
Okay.
Which, as we know from Harryhausen, is very important.
Sure.
You can see what the spider creature does when it's just hanging out and not being attacked or attacking.
Well, now we know that Madam and the spider monster are in love or whatever, so
It's implied, a possible implied possibility.
Well, they kissed and they touched each other gently, and it seemed that I don't know. I don't know.
Well, that's up to whoever writes
That's
it.
up
What
to
the monster is
you.
doing when the other monster comes in.
Okay, so you don't want to explore that?
Oh, sure we can. Yeah.
Okay. So we're with Team Oracle.
Is it gonna be hot?
It doesn't know. I mean, keep it R.
Would you fuck it?
No. For those who don't know, and for some reason have not been listening to Monster Vault, the other podcast that me and Rip do that is led by Ripley and not me, Would You Fuck It is one of the categories that we rank movie monsters in. It was the only category that I suggested.
And really is become very important to the show.
I mean... It's all good. It's science.
It's very science.
Anyway, go listen to Monster Vault. Give Rip a couple of listen.
You can find it on the podcast of your choice.
So, we go to Group Oracle. You want the monster in repose, so they're hanging out, and maybe Madam
with the Oracle, yeah.
Maybe Madam's like doing some. Oh, I know. Duh. Okay. During the barn fight with the Fiona monster, Oracle got mildly injured. So Madam could be patching up Oracle.
Oh, yes, with bog juice.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. And that could be gory or oozy or whatever, kind of gross. You could make that gross.
Because Pa did pick that up and said that Madam was using the bog to power her creatures.
Yes.
Or whatever. Yeah. Carry that forward, make it more obvious. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So you could directly see that.
And if I had my druthers?
Yeah.
Tiny spider robots.
Yeah.
scuttling about, a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. So now we go to Team Oracle, and they're in some kind of robot workshop or something where Madam does maintenance on the spider robot, and that's when you find out there are maybe some other baby spider robots or other different kinds of robots that Oracle also has control of. Okay.
Because for this beat, is it that the monster has to defeat this monster, but then there's something more to overcome?
Would you like to know what the beats are after these beats? Is that what you're...
Okay. Let's look forward a bit. Let's flip the pages.
Okay, so beat 13 is sacrifices are made or not. Faced with the ultimate choice, the hero either succeeds in defeating their internal conflict and winning against the monster, or fails and ultimately succumbs to their weakness. And then beat 14, the inevitable fallout, show the consequences of whichever choice is made. And then the last beat, 15, evil cannot be conquered, only delayed. If the hero failed in number 13, show the monster relishing its victory in a changed world. If the hero succeeded, show a hint that the monster may yet return. So it does sound like the end of the beat 12, the full beat of chapter 8, the true cost is revealed, and the first beat of chapter 9, sacrifices are made, are the fight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those are both 666 word beats. So
will the bog monster be defeating the spider monster in this next beat, do you think?
I think that...
Whatever
okay,
it may
you know what?
be.
Okay. I think that by the end of this chapter, we should be aware that whatever we thought was going to happen is not going to happen. So then that way, in the beginning of the 9th chapter, things can switch around, but in the end, either they'll win or they'll lose. But I think, okay, so thinking just what would people think would happen is that you would imagine the bog monster would come, super bog monster.
Yep.
Bust up the good time in the warehouse, the workshop, and then there'd be kind of an epic battle, and we would assume that the super bog monster would win. So we have to make it look like it's losing, or that there was something that we didn't take into account, that we're like, I didn't know that was going to happen, and so therefore, is the super bog monster going to lose this fight? Because I think that most people would think that the super bog monster is going to win, because Paul really set it up where this is an ultimate monster who would of course it's going to win.
Yeah.
But I guess he has to have a weakness.
It would be that the monsters would fight, and that one of them wins, but then after winning, ends up some way dying anyway, and then it ends up with a final battle between Elsie and Madam themselves.
Okay, like two old ladies just slapping at each other?
Yeah, well, it'd be cooler than that. But yeah, that you would think it's all going to be about a monster fight, and then it's not. It turns out to be about Elsie fighting the Madam.
Okay, sure.
Because we all want to see that happen anyway.
That makes sense. No, that totally makes sense. I'm down with that. Now, there are still two ladies left. There is Esther, one of the campers, and the other clipboard lady, Luann. So are they going to just cower in a corner? Are they fully on Madam's side and are going to try to fight alongside her? Are they going to switch sides?
If this was my movie, you're going to have the bog monster fight the spider.
Yes.
Eventually, Elsie will be fighting Madam. And those two, one of them will stay true to Madam, and one of them will turn on Madam at the last moment, thinking that is the way the sides have turned because they've already flip-flopped a couple times.
Okay.
So 3 fights. Elsie versus Madam, those two fight each other, and bog monster versus the spider.
Okay. So
3 conflicts.
That's fine.
Because one of them kind of joined. She was like, I'll kind of join. This is the way to go because that's how you follow the rules.
Yeah.
But after you see Madam starting to fall apart, you're like, the rules kind of suck. I'm going to go on the other side now.
No, it's fine. Yeah. People can switch. That's fine. That's good. So we start in the workshop. The super bog monster comes. Is Elsie is she there to watch, or does she show up later?
Oh, well, yeah, there, but in the background,
Yeah.
the sidelines, in the same way that Madam is kind of going to be in the sideline, she'll back off very quickly.
Okay.
Or maybe be running back to wherever the computer terminal is, and then do whatever she's doing.
Oh yes, that's right. She can. Yes, Madam can interact with Oracle, the actual computer, and then while the baby spider monsters and the spider monster attack and fight with the super bog monster.
Yes.
With Elsie standing in the background, the two other ladies are just kind of cowering, watching, judging as things go down.
Yeah, until
So-
the fight starts to kind of flip, and then one of them starts to turn on the other one. She's like, "Meh."
So we assume at the
And
beginning,
at that point, the gun might make an reappearance.
it's possible anyone could have taken that gun, especially since we took a little detour to the bog.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of Chekhov's gun. It's like once it's been used, it becomes barn gun. Will it pop up again? I don't know. Barn gun. You never know when it's going to pop up.
Yeah, it could be gone if anyone wanted it to be
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah, it's the glory of barn gun.
It is Schrodinger's gun.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I like the idea of there being a 3-level fight, but how far do we? Because we can split the 3-level fight into the 2 chapters. So how much of this 3 levels do we just want to do? Just the first level where monster on monster, or do we want to do monster on monster and then
Yeah, I would focus monster on monster for this
just
fight.
for this fight? Okay, and then in chapter 9,
Yeah.
we'll worry about the rest of the fights.
Because if we say the bog monster will defeat the spider, initially, that's when, you'll be like, oh, great, this is awesome. But in true horror movie fashion, in the next beat, that's when it'll turn and like, oh, no.
Yeah.
And that's when the other person will flip.
Okay.
Right before the oh, no moment when they're like, oh, the bog monster kind of won. Oh, great. So I'll do a flip. And then right as it goes, oh, no, she's like, oh, fuck.
So most of this chapter is going to be the monster on monster fight?
Monster on monster fight.
Okay. So it'll start with monster in repose, monster on monster fight, and then at the end of
And with a twist.
and the twist at the end of the chapter is that the bog monster dies? Like, are both monsters going to be dead by the end of this chapter, I
I
guess?
think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Elsie had something in her back pocket the whole time that, once her creature is destroyed, she's like, well, it didn't make sense to do this while my creature powered by bog magic is still running. But
Yeah.
now that it's just yours, I could destroy it all along.
Oh, okay. Sure. Because
Does that sound believable?
I mean,
I mean, in the pretense of this world.
it's fine. No, that's good. Okay. I mean, I don't know. To me, that sounds. And you're gonna write it if no one writes it, right?
That's true.
So I don't have to worry about writing another action scene. You can do this one if no one writes it.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's not gonna happen because not just Pa is gonna be writing in it, and someone else is
could
gonna
happen.
have
It
the
could happen.
cojones.
And then the next beat would be, the aftermath effect of this. So that's the Madam does something. The bog monster is nullified, and then all of us and the other person has already flipped on the other person. And then Elsie is walking in. She's like, "I am the master." Blah blah blah. And Madam's like almost next to her at this point.
Are you talking about chapter 9 now?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay.
at the end of this chapter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Set it up for the next chapter.
Oh, okay. So at the end of this chapter, both monsters have hurt each other enough that they're both dead or whatever.
Whatever we set up, yeah, both monsters are now dead.
And
the flip
then
has happened,
and then you find out that
and
Elsie
and Madam
has
are almost face to
Elsie
face.
has some kind of like, ooh, like I have this and this will, I don't know. Oh God, I'm so glad I don't have to write this.
No,
chapter.
Madam's the one that says, "I have this." And
Oh.
defeats bog monster, and then it's just like,
Oh,
"Oh no!"
wait, okay. So the bog monster and the oracle monster are fighting. It seems like oracle monster is going to lose.
Yeah, definitely loses.
Madam
Has to
says, Madam says, "I have this," which actually destroys the bog monster.
Yes.
And
After
then
Monster is
Oracle
beaten.
and Madam will be really upset because she's in love with the Oracle monster.
Yes.
So she's gonna be losing her mind. Yeah, and then I guess after they're both dead, then we have an idea that Elsie and Madam are gonna go at it somehow.
Yeah, they'll have to have some sort of fight.
But that's not until chapter 9 or at the end of this.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be the next chapter. Will be their final conflict with each other.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. That sounds all right to me. Are you
But
satisfied?
what is Madam got? What has she got in her
Oh
pocket?
fuck, I don't know. Do you want to use that amulet thing that you? No, because Madam
that didn't
wants
exist.
Madam and also Madam would like something more technologically advanced.
Like she had a way to destroy the bog all along, and she just never did it.
Because she needed the bog juice for her robots.
And now that she's losing, she's like, "Fuck that bog.
Sometimes,
Fuck it."
She's like, if I lose the love of my life,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if the world burns down. I don't care if the bog will do whatever terrible thing.
Yeah,
the
she's
bog.
like, I'm not gonna win this. I'm gonna die if I don't do this anyway. So I might as well just tear the whole fucker down.
Okay, so she has
And since it could have been, they said it was a storm 200 years ago. That created the bog. Maybe it's something really simple, and she's like, well, electricity from the lightning caused the bog to be created or whatever, and now I will, cause a bunch of electricity to go into the bog and kill it.
And that makes sense as well as far as her liking technology, because she has like what are they called, the big electricity things, Tesla coils or whatever?
Yes, exactly. She's like, I could have fried that thing a long time ago. I chose not to.
She must, I don't know if it'll be the Tesla, but I don't know, something like that. You're right.
Something like that,
something that she can do.
She's had this kill switch set up a long, long time ago.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. And like I said, after the love of her life is dead, she has no reason to live.
Yeah.
So she's like, I don't care. I don't care if the bog protected blah, 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 or whatever. I don't even know. Sometimes I listen to what we're saying.
Secretly,
and it makes no sense.
As we find out in the next chapter, Madam had a little bit of the bog still saved somewhere else.
Oh, okay. So that she could
to
continue to
use the bog juice.
She has secret bog juice.
She has a secret mini bog that she's made herself.
I mean, that can be the very final.
That final bit that we talked about.
Oh, the hint the monster may return.
So she's always got that in her back pocket, so she can destroy the bog. And it's just like it's not quite
the main
bog, but maybe she can grow it.
Do you think? Do you think you could grow a new bog from a bucket of bog juice?
She's gonna try. It might be enough to at least get another spider monster going.
That's true, and that's all. She just wants to be in love. She just wants her love. The one she loves.
Sweet spider love.
Who knew this would be a romantic story?
All horror movies are romance stories.
Oh my God. Okay, well that's a lot. I think that's enough for the people to. Hey, Rip.
And plus, this is a gore book. We picked the gore genre, and we haven't really been focusing on the gore part.
It's really hard when you have 1,000 words and there's so many.
You don't have a lot of time for
and you have to
stuff.
get through the beats so fast. But I think it's pretty gory. Things have been gross.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You can.
But just a little reminder to everyone: it's gore if you're gonna write something.
Of course. So encourage people to write this chapter so you don't have to.
You can please write this chapter. Please. I got so much going on. Got synthesizers to make. I got a book to finish. I got 2 podcasts to fucking finish up. I fucking got 2 episodes ready to go. Recorded and in the can, ready for editing.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes, I know.
So
write it. And it's super fun. Oh my God.
It is fun.
I don't want to do it, but it's so fun.
I know, that's the thing.
Because I got so much going on.
It's like we know you have that stuff going on too. You don't think that Pa has things to do? Pa has stuff to do, okay? And they're writing in and killing it. It's awesome and very fun.
It's very good.
All right, so Ripley,
tell
the people how they can follow you and enjoy your stuff.
Well, you go to spookyroomproductions with an S.com, and there you can find all about all this podcast stuff. Monster Vault is there. This podcast is there. Concordia game is there. It's all there. I got a YouTube channel. It's Ripley Stonebrook.
Okay, I guess I'll go back through the secret passageway into the studio. Thank you so much, Rip. What's your plans for in the lounge? Are you just gonna lounge in here, or you going back to your the atelier, or?
I'm going to work on these maps. Yeah, I got like hundreds of maps to do.
Oh man!
So many maps to the book. I'm not gonna do the maps.
Oh.
I'm gonna drink beers. I mean art juice. Art juice.
Art juice and maps. Let's pretend that's what's happening. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wow. What a really good brainstorm. I think now we all know what we need to do to write this next chapter. It's going to be very exciting. But of course, if I don't tell you a little bit about what I expect from you, as far as rules and regulations go, then how can I possibly ask you to write in? You need to have some idea, but I'm really lazy and don't like reading out the entire list. So, for the 9 rules and regulations that are in place for this podcast, I'm going to do each in 15 seconds. Was that a sentence? I don't know. Am I supposed to be paying attention to what I'm saying? Get real. Here's a 15-second R&R. Rule 1. Every podcast I will explain the beat. You will listen to our brilliant brainstorm and you can follow the brainstorm or you can do your own thing. You can use your own ideas and all you have to do is make sure you cover the beats. If you can do that. Oh, there we go. Rule 2. Each chapter has a 1,000 word limit, 666 words for one beat and 333 words for the half beat. I mean, that's all kind of approximate. I'm pretty loosey-goosey, and I'm the one who... Oh, okay. Rule 3. Any form is fine. You can write a haiku, you can write it in a screenplay, you can write it in regular prose, you can keep within your own comfort zone, or you can experiment. This is the time and the place to go wild. Oh. Rule 4. Keep things R. And here we're talking about the detail and the sex and the violence. With the 1,000 word limit, it's pretty hard to squeeze any sex in there, especially since this is a gore story. But okay. Rule 5. I am not going to edit anything. I will read the piece with your grammar, your spelling, your punctuation. This is not about perfection. It's about getting the job done. And it's, the stakes are 0. So, Rule 6. Research is optional. You can lie if you want. You can research if you want. But as long as you fulfill the beats and are within the 1,000 word limit, we will all respect what you have chosen to be the truth. Okay. Rule 7. The tombola. This is a random draw of qualified entries. Then, of course, the winner will be read on the podcast and forever part of this glorious and amazing story. And, Rule 8. How to submit your 1,000 word chapter, your pen name or your real name. You have 100 word limit, self-promo or disclaimer or whatever you want me to read after I say your name. Go to spookyroomproductions.com. Spookyroomproductions.com. The A Few Dozen Monkeys page and the submission will be there. I broke the rule. That's more than 15 seconds. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Anyways, linked everywhere. Rule 9. There is an illustrated podcast on YouTube called Crandall Monk. That's my YouTube page called Crandall Monk. You can submit your artwork in the same form at spookyroomproductions.com and the Few Dozen Monkeys page. Okay. If you need more information than that to understand the rules, it's all there at spookyroomproductions.com. On the Few Dozen Monkeys page, it's linked below. It's linked all over the place. Do please keep in mind that you'll, although you don't have to sign up, you don't have to give me your email or anything like that. There's no reading fee. You will also never be paid in any way for your contribution, except with the eternal glow of inclusion. I was like, especially since Pseudo-Anonymous has been writing in the chapters and helping us out and being really a great sport and killing it. I was like, we need some more pictures. We need illustrations. And I was like, I never tell them, the illustrators, what kind of pictures we're actually looking for. Here's a couple ideas. The bog, the Spooky Room Productions Lounge, the sheep. If you've ever seen the the illustrated podcast on the Crandall Monk YouTube page. And in the author quote, there's always this painting of a sheep that I did. It's not good. So another picture of a sheep would be good. Any pictures of Piroli? I don't know. Anyway. I think what we really need right now is one final word of advice and encouragement in the author quote. According to Dean Koontz, when reading how-to tips from any writer, always remember that what technique or attitude works for him or her might be so alien to your creative nature that to adopt it unthinkingly will do you no good and might hamstring you. Thank you, Mr. Koontz. I think that's exactly what we all needed to hear. And he's absolutely right, as you can imagine. So, I guess there's only one more thing left to do, and that's to tell you when the dates of submissions closing and the next pod is. So write your 1,000-word chapter, Chapter 8, and submit it to spookyroomproductions.com on this Few Dozen Monkeys page by September 25th, 2024. The next podcast will drop on October 5th, 2024. And if you and your qualified submission are drawn from the tombola, that's when your piece is going to be read on the podcast. That's pretty exciting. Everything is linked everywhere. Just look around. SpookyRoomProductions.com. Crandall Monk on YouTube. It's time to start writing. It's time to start illustrating. It's time to start submitting. And remember, it's better to finish something than to give up on everything. You know what I mean. Let's go!